Molly. It is Tuesday, April 4th, and this is Who's to Say. I'm still definitely filming this on my phone, but I'm filming it on the right day, so that's a marked improvement. Also, I've set it up on this, stand thing. It's very MacGyver, and now I don't awkwardly have to hold my phone. Last week in your video, you challenged me to kind of a debate. Should you be allowed to reference something if you've never seen or read the source material? You threw that up as a poll question on our Twitter at Who's to Say Girls, and 68% of people said, sure, go for it, and 32% of people said, absolutely not. And I'm here to tell you today that I side with the sure, go for it people. For a variety of reasons. Some of them are probably eloquent, though I doubt I'll be able to capture that eloquence here, rambling at my phone. And some of them are just sort of simple. The sort of simple answer for why I think people should be allowed to reference things even if they've never seen or read the source material is my general attitude of whatever, do you? The more complicated, potentially eloquent answer is an argument about how pop culture, well, is precisely that. It's popular culture. And it tends to be absorbed into our cultural lexicon, and it becomes a way in which we communicate about the world around us by referencing things in our pop culture. And when things get absorbed into the cultural lexicon at, such a degree that they can be referenced and most people understand the reference and know what you are trying to convey through that reference, it becomes unnecessary to have seen or read the source material in order to understand the reference. It begins carrying its own weight within the cultural lexicon. And because you can understand it without having seen or read the source material, it also becomes true that people can make those references themselves without having seen or read the source material. And as long as you can do that in an accurate way, then I think go for it. That being said, if you reference things incorrectly, then that can sort of become its own thing. And if people correct you on incorrect references, the same way people might correct people on the meanings of words, take that for what it is and reorient the reference, I guess. That being said, I feel like I'm saying that a lot in this video. Things sort of take on their own meanings as well, as they get separated and divorced from their source material, which is very interesting to me as a person. And things that once, meanings change, and that is especially true when we see things get sort of separated and divorced from their source material as far as pop culture references go. Which is interesting, and context usually clarifies what people mean. So yeah, I say sure, go for it. I would also encourage people to strive to be accurate with them. I also would generally encourage people to maybe read and or watch something that qualifies as source material, which is actually an interesting question there. What qualifies as source material? You mentioned this whole conversation debate is sparked by the fact that you made an Outsiders reference in your last video, and then admitted to never having read The Outsiders or seen The Outsiders, because there are adaptations of it. And I think it's an interesting conversation about what qualifies as the source material. Do you have to have read the book in that case, or does seeing an adaptation count? Also, I've never read or seen The Outsiders, and I got both of your references and can make references of my own, because again, it's pretty commonly read, and therefore, for those of us who haven't read it, we can keep up, I guess. is a good way to put that. But yeah, I say, do you. I also encourage people to like interact or engage with the source material that they frequently reference if they haven't ever read or watched it, because that obviously deepens your engagement with it and your understanding of the reference. But I don't think it's totally necessary for a variety of reasons. There are some things that I reference that I like love the references, but know that I wouldn't really care about the source material for whatever reason, genre or things like that. And I think that's fine. So, those are my thoughts. So now you have to argue for the absolutely not side. Have fun doing that, and I will talk to you next week, Molly.